I feel like their blueprint or thumbprint or whatever is very unique and unusual compared to what has been here before on the earth. And I feel that they're holding a new template, a new vibration, a new sound current, a new frequency that is basically probably something the ones that are in touch with who they are and have, the light that's coming in or holding the resonance are probably stabilizing and anchoring the planet to some degree, I think. I don't know that this polar shift is going to happen in our lifetime, but again, I feel that these are some, you call them light workers, light warriors. I think these are some of the real true ones because they came in already awake. And so they're in touch with who they are, their extrasensory abilities, they're more advanced in so many ways, but also the vibration that they're holding. So that's what I feel about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I have been talking to Dolores Cannon. I don't know if you know who she is, but she talks to a lot of individuals with missions apparently that are coming in, and then she regresses them, goes into prior lives and also into future lives with them. So she's gotten a huge body of work, and what she has noticed is she basically feels there are, in essence, 3 waves of individuals that have been coming into the planet for the last, 10, 20, 30, 40 years or more. And she talks about their different missions, like in more general terms, just what she's gathered in terms of missions. And it's very interesting what the different sort of waves of individuals are bringing to the planet at this time. And I think that there is definitely an effort to move the planet from one vibration to another, and therefore souls are incarnating into bodies, as you say, that are more awake and aware coming in than a lot of people were, say, 20, 50 years ago. So I think that is helping jumpstart consciousness, if you will, around the planet and around themselves. Although I think they're having a lot of challenges in terms of adjusting to the people around them and the planet and so on. So there are a lot of challenges there for children coming in. But I was just curious whether or not in your work you encountered any children.
Oh, okay. I got that. I didn't know exactly what you were asking, but yeah, I have worked with some gifted children. I probably say the majority of my work is more adults, but sometimes I'm lucky enough to work with kids. I actually would, and gifted ones. Sometimes they're very gifted. I would love to actually do more of that type of work. I would say probably more teenagers. I don't always get the real young kids. They're really pure and wonderful when you do get them. But the ones that I have been working with, probably between 12 and 15, and sometimes it's been in the school systems. I've given them meditation, yoga techniques to work with. They asked me some interesting questions that you can tell that different questions that they would be asking than when I was 15, because there's things that they're in touch with, but they don't know quite how to qualify it or describe it or articulate it. So mostly what I've done with the kids, it's more been in groups, like yoga meditation classes, is giving them tools, and they seem to be receiving them really well, and they seem to be interested in using them as if they know that they really need them for what's coming. I would like to actually do more one-on-one with kids. So far it's been more in groups. And it's very refreshing.
Yeah, I bet. I think that they're fascinating to work with. And anyway, I just thought that it would be fascinating to hear if you were working with any of those children. We have interviewed one in particular called Boriska, who is in Russia. I don't know if you know of him.
No.
Oh, well, we have an interview with him. We actually traveled to Russia to interview him. He was quite well known because he came in as a young child and began talking about his incarnation on Mars previous to coming in here, and the wars that he was part of, and so on. So it was quite interesting, and eventually he became quite famous in Russia, and that's how we heard about him. But there are all kinds of amazingly gifted children out there, and some of the gifts are always are things that are hidden and won't be coming to the fore for many years. So you may have a gifted child and not know it. I just
right. No, I know. I would like I said, I would love to be invited somewhere where I could work with some of these kids, because I do have a gift with working with kids. Usually it turns out that it's in a group or it's with a parent. I have been around a few children that have had, some unusual extrasensory kind of abilities, but I would love to be able to work more extensively with kids because of their purity and their light frequencies. Their codes are different than ours. And I'd like to have an opportunity to do more of that. The little that I have done one-on-one, which has been different than the groups, it's just been very exciting for me. It's almost like opening up a memory of where I was before I came here, which was a very different humanity and a different vibration than the Earth. And so I welcome that. I hope it happens more in my work.
Well, let me ask you about that. Have you gone into any of your past life memories and things like that? Do you have a recall in that area, and would you like to share any of that?
Yeah, maybe not all of it, maybe some of it. I'm comfortable sharing some of it. I would say, in terms of off-world, I have a very strong Pleiadian connection and Andromeda. I think that's how you say it, Andromeda connection, which I think is a different solar system than this one, or different galaxy rather, excuse me. I remember being in a lifetime or lifetimes, of course this would be millions of years ago. I don't want to say I've been stuck here for a while. I have really no desire necessarily to come back and reincarnate here unless I need to really be of service again. But it was civilizations that I've lived in where there was no war, there was no hunger, there was no hatred. The emotions were not so dense. And it was mostly, light, love, joy. It sounds kind of, again, idyllic, but a different way of being and communicating, telepathically, not the real dense bodies like the ones that we have here, and maybe, not a need necessarily to eat, denser food. Maybe we're eating light, or we're eating a sort of I don't know what you would call it, but more liquid food and more light, a different way of interacting, of being, more of a sense of responsibility, of wanting to maintain a certain emotional, quality, how would I say, in terms of thought forms and emotional intelligence or emotional qualities, everybody had a certain vibration or frequency that they would hold. There was no need for that level to drop, in terms of vibration-wise or density-wise. So it was a different kind of existence and way of being, and just a feeling of feeling nurtured, supported, loved, and more of an extended spiritual family of everyone of like mind. And I guess I long for that. I don't know if that's going to be able to be a possibility on this planet, but I think that the people who are in my life that I call my spiritual brothers and sisters or extended spiritual family are either people who've had those existences before and remember that type of way of being, a different type of humanity, a different type of planet, different, existence. They long for that again here, and so we tend to magnetize each other to one another because we're wanting to create that supportive, nurturing, loving feeling of spiritual family and support and a remembering of our divinity. that's the other thing that I want to say is that it was a feeling of, I am a divine